I'm talking with Mick Conley of UL. Mick, give us your thoughts on ongoing interoperability issues within the Internet of Things.
Yeah, the Internet of Things is large and wide, and interoperability has become a very key component for trust and success. Trust needs to be in all these areas, or many different areas of Internet of Things. So UL has invested quite a bit getting involved in what we think are the leading consortiums that are dealing with Interop of Things. And we're trying to do what we can to lead or at least engage very actively. So interoperability is really not going to replace compliance testing, but it is going to become equally as important. So we're doing quite a bit in that area.
Do you think interoperability issues are being addressed now, or are they as bad as they were a year ago, or whatever?
They are, and let me give you some examples. In the groups that are heavily involved in Internet of Things, AllJoin, Thread, OIC, these are new groups, but they're very involved in those areas. From the get-go, they're starting compliance and interoperability programs. So they have people within their groups that are working on use cases, which become the foundation of an interoperability test plan. There's a lot of cross-pollination between the technical standards groups and the people dealing in creating the interoperability certification. There's a lot of at stake in interoperability, but there's also a lot of opportunity for third-party testers, such as UL. So there's, incentive drives motivation, and I think that we're going to continue to see a lot of rich output from all of these efforts.
It sounds like some of these organizations may have learned lessons from the past and are putting interoperability up front.
Yeah, they have. Again, I think we all recognize Wi-Fi Alliance. They've been around 10 plus years. They have tens of thousands of products that have been certified. They went through a lot of these learning curves. And in fact, some of the pioneers that were in on Wi-Fi Alliance are very involved in these other areas. So they're bringing those lessons learned. Those lessons will become very, very important for these new areas.
And where does UL see the market going? Is it a global market, or is it in fact a series of vertical markets?
Well, it's yes to both. It is a global market. I mean, we are a global economy. We are a global service provider and product provider. Things shift, from one geography to the other, but certainly Internet of Things are touching industrial, they're touching enterprise, they're touching consumer. These are vertical areas. There's, some blur in each of these areas. But then there's, connected car, the automotive area. There's the medical industry. All of these need to have interoperability. In the U.S., third leading cause of death are medical mistakes.
Wow.
So you really need to have product A who's interfacing with product B, say it's a monitor and an infuser, they need to be interoperable, or you have a real issue that could happen. So these verticals will deal with their use cases and their clientele, but they're all going to have the umbrella of interoperability and the foundations of standards under them.
So Mick, what is UL doing to address security and privacy issues in the IoT space?
That's a good question, and I appreciate you asking it. Security and privacy are two separate. They are related, but in terms of how you approach it and how you deal with it, they are different. So in security, UL has invested a tremendous amount. Some quick things about UL, 22 billion logo marks a year, 44 countries, 11,000 employees, 1,500 specs. So we have some DNA to really get involved in all areas. And what we've done is invested in a group to specifically deal with security.
Right.
Without going into the real detail of it, they are dedicated on UL's behalf to support that UL brand on security, both in payment areas like EMVCo as well as Internet of Things. Now, privacy is a little different. Privacy is more of an issue that will be dealt with, I believe, by legislation by governments mandating. Certainly industry will be a key player there, but I think, you know, the actual privacy aspect will be dealt with. Cities are starting to deal with it. We'll see larger governments. UL is involved in relationships with large governments. In many cases it's safety or quality of air and water, but we have those relationships. When we find an opportunity to contribute in that area, we'll do so.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like UL has a lot of reach and a lot of ability to support and help companies developing IoT solutions. Thanks very much, Mick.
And we want to do it.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.